Welcome to Crypto News, the Crypto News channel. Today good news from the USA. We will also talk about the Bonk. We will talk about Genesis, FTX, and a hack of more than $200 million that has been avoided, and many other crypto news. So don't hesitate to subscribe and watch the video until the end, and activate the bell so you don't miss any video. Let's start right away. The Bonk, this meme coin of Solana, lost more than 25% over 24 hours. I had spoken to you. It was at $100 million, then it increased. It went almost $200 million of market cap. There we are falling. We go back to 66 million, and there it is. Really, everyone asks the question, is it okay? Will it increase? The developers of the Bonk, to try to restore confidence to users, they actually burned 5 trillion token Bonk, which was intended for DICE developers, saying here we are going to burn to support the ecosystem a little. So after me, I asked myself the question, if he burns all this, how they will then allocate the funds for them? But I imagine that there is still the DAO, which exists to redistribute a certain quantity of background, in any case to each one to make his bet on the Bonk. Personally, I invest not on this meme coin. I also wanted to tell you about FTX and SBF, who are actually asking that it's $450 million that they bought into Robinhood. That's a publicly traded company. He had borrowed FTX money to buy his shares, and he is actually asking for those shares not to be seized, because in fact he needs them to pay his lawsuit. And SBF says you don't have the right to enter that, it belongs to me, it doesn't belong to the FTX company. We'll see now if it's going to be authorized or not to keep its $450 million. It would still be amazing if it gets there. I wanted to talk to you about the good news. The good news, it comes to us from the employment figures in the United States. There is something that really pleased investors and the market. There was a small rise in the market following this report on the employment numbers in the United States. And it's actually at the level of the increase in wages. There has been more job creation than expected, so it would be better for the job market to slow down in the United States. But the good news is that the average hourly wage is increasing less than expected. And that's a good thing. People are starting to say to themselves, maybe it's the end of inflation, the slowdown in the inflation. We have an increase of 0.4% against an increase of 0.6%, which was estimated. So people are trying to find the good news where there is there. It comes from employment inflation, which could have an impact on inflation. We are now impatiently awaiting the increase in the Fed's rates, which should be for February. It is rather a good sign, this slowdown in the rise in wages in the United States. We will now see how the market will react, but it has already reacted slightly to the rise. Unemployment in the United States is barely 3.5% and just very low. In fact, we are almost at full employment. I now wanted to talk to you about something else. We are going to talk about a security researcher who managed to discover a security flaw on the Polkadot ecosystem, which could have led to a theft of $200 million. The researcher, or the white hat, he traced the flaw to Polkadot. We can see them here, the sites in detail: Moonwell Apollo, Moonwell Artemis, Starlay Finances. That could have resulted in here is $94 million on Moonwell, and on a lot of other protocols. Consisted of the flaw was actually Polkadot. They use code from the Ethereum Virtual Machine that was developed on bin reset. But they had to make some adaptations, and at some point in the adaptation there is a conversion that is done. The numbers that are manipulated in the code are truncated. They are cut to be compatible with the Polkadot ecosystem. And that led to a flaw that could have meant that anyone could have stolen the equivalent of WETH contracts. And all these contracts were vulnerable. We could in fact have completely voided them because of this flaw. This bad conversion of numbers that place on the Polkadot ecosystem. Fortunately, everyone is doing well. The researcher only gets back $1 million. It is something quite low considering the amount that was in danger. Usually we say 10% or so of what's at risk. That seems like a good reward, so he could have hoped for at least $10 million. But in the end he comes out with $1 million and he's pretty happy. He published everything, an article on the subject. It's not the first time. It has already reported several flaws. It has been rewarded with millions of dollars. So it's really lucrative to search for security flaws in the Web3. Talk now from Huobi, the exchange, which is in difficulty. They are going to lay off 20% of their employee. There are a lot of rumors around Huobi currently. What is quite amazing is that they will stop paying their employee with money in their bank. and tell them now we'll pay you stables coin where we will pay you directly on the exchange. So honestly, it really does not smell good. Why does he not pay with money? Don't they have enough money? Did their banking partner block them? It's hard to say, but in any case, it's not at all reassuring. We remember the Huobi, it's something that finally officially it doesn't belong to Justine's son. There are plenty of rumors that it's him who in fact bought this Asian exchange, which has been in great difficulty since they were forced China and Justin's son. Well, it is he who is also behind the trunk of the coup, the TRX token, which is down 3.8% today. The Huobi is also down. The stablecoin, it is at 0.97, so it is below $1. It is being under $1 and a fairly sustainable. We can see that over a month it has spent the whole month below $1. Here is attention to what is happening on Huobi. Be careful if you have crypto on this exchange. I now wanted to talk to you about a Frenchman who has just been arrested in the United States. He would have launched an NFT collection called the Mutant APE Planet. We can see here if on OpenSea, he raised almost $3 million. And then in fact he would have made a rug pull. So he would have disappeared. He would have stopped developing everything that was promised to users. A lot of things that were promised. And then he would even confess to having rug pull on social media. He says, yes, we weren't planning to do a rug pull and disappear. But the community was too toxic, so we took $3 million and we left. And he went to the United States and they arrested him. That shows how vigilant we have to be on the NFT collections. There are plenty of cheats. If you launch NFTs collections, also be careful, you also risk. If you do not deliver what is promised, to have problems, as we can see currently. And that's why we also see a lot of people who are in crypto, who are in Dubai or who are in other places and who do not want to go to the United States, who refuse invitations to the United States because they are afraid of what the American justice could reproach them with. I now wanted to talk about Genesis. The company that has been in difficulty for many weeks, which belongs to DCG Digital Currency Group. They have just off 30% of their employees, so they have made losses. They are trying to restructure a little bit. We hope that it is going to help repay the debt they have with many other different exchanges, including Gemini, and the parent company of DCG is also cleaning up. They have closed their wealth management branches of wealth management, which is called HQ. And now we will see when they will be able to return the billions of dollars. Will they have to sell shares of Grayscale or something? It remains to be seen. We have an integration that has just been done on Shopify to be able to buy and sell NFTs very easily. And it's done on the Avalanche blockchain. They chose Avalanche for that. It's done via Venly. You can easily buy, rather create NFTs easily and sell them on Shopify. Platform, very well-known e-commerce, facilitate the purchase and sale of NFT. Finally, I wanted to talk to you about the CEO of Celsius. There is the United States who have just filed a complaint against him for fraud and everything related to the Celsius affair. He would have hidden the poor financial health of Celsius. And well, we saw the impact this had on one user who kept their money on Celsius only to have it blocked. Here's what I had to tell you today about the crypto ecosystem. I hope you liked the content. If so, feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and see you in the next video.